Hey everyone, I've been wanting to do a lot of different little projects and content here on the channel that you may not be used to. We've been doing one Completionist a week every week for almost 9 years, and now we have New Game Plus every other week, and we had a top 10 or Battle Square or something like that. And this year, I want to take these open weeks where we're doing 6 videos a month to do new types of content. And in honor of Video Games and the Movies Month here on the show, I wanted to do my review and take on Sonic the Hedgehog, the film. So before we talk about the movie and what we got, I want to talk about the past a little bit with regards to the overall public eye about Sonic the Hedgehog last year and where we kind of ended up today. In May of last year, we all saw that Sonic trailer with the weird Sonic model, and like most people, I definitely did not enjoy not just the model, I did not like the pacing, I didn't like the music they used. However, I come from a film background and I recognize and understand things like production and budgets. There was going to be a lot of rework that had to be applied to the film and to the character. So you're talking millions of dollars of CG reanimations and refilming and remarketing and re-advertising the whole thing. And in the end, what we got is really good. Really, really good. That's not to say that the film is perfect by any means, but what we got from Sonic in the end, his final look, the way that he was marketed, Ben Schwartz as Sonic, we got a fantastic little production here that I think can lead to many possibilities of future Sonic films. Now, personally, I have some weird ties to this film, and I want to get it out there. I did not get paid to make this review. This is not a sponsored post or a hashtag ad, but I have seen a lot of the behind the scenes aspect of this film in advance from other sources. With that said, I can't talk about or share about a lot of those things, but at the very least, I can share some of the physical things that I did receive from friends and family that worked on the film. So by now, a lot of you, I'm sure, have already seen the film, but in case you haven't, I have some really cool things to share with you guys. So spoilers in advance for the Sonic the Hedgehog film, which just came out last week. First up, I went to the premiere, the red carpet premiere, or rather, I think it was the blue carpet they called it, for the Sonic the Hedgehog film last Wednesday. It was a really cool experience. I got to see a lot of cool celebrities there, like Ben Schwartz, Jim Carrey. I actually saw Christian Whitehead, who is the lead director and creator of Sonic Mania, as well as ran into the Hyper Potion guys who did the theme for Sonic Mania. And it was really cool talking to them after the film because they had no idea that their song for Sonic Mania was used in the film. So it was really cool to talk to them after that and really have them see, oh my gosh, I am now really super a part of Sonic history, which I thought was really rad. Now, I've personally known about the production of the Sonic film for years because my girlfriend's brother, Clayton Flagg, worked on props for the movie. I got these awesome Christmas gifts about 2 years ago that I've been dying to show the world, and I finally, for the first time, get to talk about them right here with you guys right now. So first things first, I have the slate. This was one of a few slates from the film. Clayton Flagg is my girlfriend's brother. My girlfriend's name is Amanda Flagg, and her brother Clayton was the props guy on Sonic. And I tried to find Jeff at the premiere to have him sign this, but I saw him. I was too nervous. I didn't want to make a scene out of it. But in the end, I have this cool slate that I thought is a cool item. This is one of a kind. No one has it but me. And I think that's really, really freaking rad. Now, for those of you guys who saw the film, the next thing you're going to see here is this Sonic design. Now, here's the thing. A lot of you guys out there are probably over this design, right? You've seen it several times. You know what it's of. But this is actually one of the many sheets and drawings they used in the actual film. So this is drawn by Clayton. And it is in the early on in the film, the crazy guy in town has been saying he's been seeing this blue devil, and he goes in the bar and he's like, this is what it looks like. This is one of the takes they used. I don't know if it's the final one they used for the film, but they made several because when you do props in films, you have to make several different copies of what you're working with in case things get torn, things get wrinkly. So this is actually one of the many sheets that they designed for the film. Really, really cool stuff here. And finally, I have one of the gold rings that were used for the live action purposes, for James Marsden, and for references on the set. Obviously, Sonic uses these gold rings to travel through time and space, and this is one of the ones they had for practicality's sake on set. Again, a big thank you to Clayton Flagg for giving me these really cool items. I was blown away by his kindness. Just a quick plug. If you like movie podcasts and podcasts about filmmaking, Clayton has a podcast called the Propscast, which you can get on iTunes and Google Play and Spotify and all of those fun places. I love the show. It would mean a lot to me if you downloaded the podcast and listened. You're going to have a good time. Two Canadian dudes kicking ass, having a good time talking about movies. What's not to love? So now we're going to talk about the film, the good, the bad, the fun, the weird, everything in between, stuff that I loved, stuff that I didn't like, and overall, just my thoughts about Sonic the Hedgehog. So I went to film school, and a big part of my background was all about analyzing film from a 3-act structure, about the hero's journey. Even bad films that I don't necessarily like, I can respect them for applying the fundamentals of the hero's journey, which is, again, 3-act, man versus man, man versus nature, protagonist versus antagonist, and all that stuff. So I'm going to try my best to use all of that stuff as my litmus test of how we talk about the film. So Sonic himself is fantastic. He's well animated. He has a lot of purpose. Ben Schwartz did a phenomenal job as the voice of Sonic. I know everyone was mad that Roger Craig Smith did not voice Sonic, but I think we have to take a step back and look at what Paramount's trying to do and look at what Sega has allowed them to do. Sonic as a character hasn't had a lot of heart behind who he is, right? He has to go fast, he loves chili dogs, he likes collecting rings, he saves the day, he has Tails, he has Amy. There's a lot of different moving pieces when it comes to the Sonic lore and franchise. And so how do you take all of that and put it into a film for people who have no idea what the hell a Sonic is? Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, does a great job of intertwining the heart and characteristics of what Sonic could be with realism and the actors, the real world aspects to it. So James Marsden and Jim Carrey and all the other actors in the film. You have to try and find a balance between appeasing the Sonic fans who love the franchise and the people who have no idea what's going on, but recognize the name of Sonic and the brand Sega. For all intents and purposes, this film is an origin story about Sonic and how he relates to the real world. Why is Sonic here in Green Hills, Montana? Why is he here on Earth? And I think those beats work pretty well. I've seen a lot of Sonic fans get really mad at the fact that there's traveling through rings in this film. If you look at Sonic 1, let alone Sonic Mania, or really any of the Sonic Archie comics, you'd know that Sonic and traveling through rings is very much in the nature of the Sonic brand. It's not weird or outlandish. What is weird about it is it's not really set up that well, except towards the end of the film, what the rings do and how they can really be used for our cast and crew of Sonic the Hedgehog. You guys know that I like a lot of films and video games, so it's hard for me to really sink my teeth into what I disliked about this film without being too critical or too over the top praising of the project. But the thing that definitely threw me for a loop that I was not used to was the owl motherly character of Sonic. I think it's like Longclaw, thank you. Longclaw as a character didn't really make sense to me. I don't think there's anything that I've experienced in the games that has an owl that's in that realm. Maybe something in the Archie comics or other media that I don't know about. That was the only part of the film that I really just did not get or understand, especially because when you look at what was going on in Green Hills, there's this whole thing about Longclaw telling Sonic that he's special and that he has these rings and he has to be protected and people want to come after him. He's being chased by a clan of echidna. So what's weird is you have these echidna that look a lot like Knuckles and the echidnas we've known from Sonic Adventure and so on and so forth. Longclaw looked like a true owl that you would see in something like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? That like kind of CG Harry Potter animalistic looking animal for an owl, right? But then you look at the echidnas in Sonic and they look so much more on model to what they were from the games, to what Tyson Hess and the crew at Sonic Mania have kind of tried to hone in on. So it's kind of interesting to see the echidnas in Sonic now look fantastic, and then Longclaw to me looks like they weren't a part of the redesign or the remaster overall. I think that might have fixed some of my gripes with it. It just was weird, and it was a really quick beat. So we saw this origin story happen, and then poof, gone kind of right in the beginning. But the nice thing about this beat is that it does set up Sonic's character going forward for the rest of the film. Sonic is this young and scared, but like kind of smarmy, young, egotistical, but insecure character that is trying to find his place in this small town in Montana that just so happens to be called Green Hills. I think that's really interesting because you have a video game character looking into what normal society is, and that kind of paints the image of why we kind of dig Sonic so early on, because he is this like rude attitude, kind of spunky and fascinating creature that just wants to have a good time. But very early on, we learn that Sonic isn't quite as full as we thought he was of himself, and really he's just a young boy who's looking for a friend. And that's kind of what this movie is about. This movie is about friendship, and that sounds like a very basic entity. It sounds like a very weird non-Sonic thing, but I think that actually sits quite well with what we know of Sonic. So that's Sonic's character to a nutshell, and it's kind of his core almost the entire time the movie is going on, which I think it's pretty good. From there, you have Jim Carrey as Eggman, Dr. Robotnik, who is fantastic. It really is a return to form for Jim Carrey, and he somehow works and steals almost every scene that he's in. Even with his assistant on the side, the two of them just have this weird chemistry going on. It's not even that Eggman doesn't look the right way. It's not even that he's not designed to be what we know. This is an origin story. How did Eggman go bald? How did Eggman know about Green Hill Zone and Mushroom Hill Zone? And these are all kind of really cool story beats that have never really been talked about in the mainstream way that is known for casual and hardcore Sonic fans. And the antagonistic energy between Sonic and Robotnik is palpable and understood the minute they meet on screen for the very first time to the point where the movie ends. It's very synergy based, it's very energy based. You understand what makes these characters tick, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, just between the two of them interacting. Even though it may be small and limited, it doesn't matter. These two characters clearly do not mix well together. However, another thing that doesn't quite mix well with me is James Marsden's character. Now, I thought James Marsden did his best with this role, right? He is this cop who lives in a small beat town who wants to become really important and change lives and help people, which is a great want and need. And that's essentially why Sonic and James Marsden's characters kind of meet up and go on this journey as a unit, is because they're both kind of earning and yearning for the same thing at the same time, which is great to see and great to experience. But other than that, James Marsden could have been really anyone else in the film and you wouldn't have really batted an eye. And I don't think that's James's fault. I don't think it's the script's fault. I just don't think there was a character here. The James Marsden hero character in this film, that's the human side of things, just doesn't quite fit well. In fact, I think the whole family of what's going on with James Marsden and his whole side plot just doesn't fit well overall to the film. And I think that to me was probably the second weirdest thing and my second biggest problem that I had with the movie overall. And that kind of leads to my point of chemistry. These characters all have to communicate with a porcelain statue or a fur statue of Sonic the whole time when you're on set. So how do you have those moments of pure genuine interaction, right? It's really hard to pull off when you're talking to this statue of any kind. And I think, for what it's worth, they did a great job. They really sold that Sonic was a real character amongst the world of Earth and this universe they're presenting us. Now, I've been seeing a lot of comments online about the comedy and how it's cringy and out there. It's not meant for everyone. It's not meant for all of us to really enjoy a lot of the humor. Personally, I thought almost every comedic beat in this movie worked, with the exception of a couple of fart jokes and flossing. But that's just me recognizing that I'm on the older side now. I'm not into fart jokes anymore. I'm not into the floss. No matter how many times people tell me to play Fortnite, it's just not my thing. Aside from those two things, I loved the chemistry that Sonic brought to the table with Eggman and with Marsden, and their comedy was good. There are some nods to Sonic kind of understanding why he likes chili dogs, why he has his shoes. It's just these little moments and beats where we go as an audience, as a gaming family, if you will, we kind of take a step back and go, that was a really unique and neat thing they did. I don't know. I think this film does a lot right. It definitely has its weird, rough around the edges approach to some of the things throughout the movie, but think it all works. With regards to a sequel, I think we're gonna get one. I think in its first 4-day gross planned for the weekend, it is eclipsed Detective Pikachu, which is insane because the budget on Detective Pikachu was so much more and more grandiose than what we got with Sonic, especially considering that they redid the model that we all now kind of like. I'm also gonna be that guy that says, I hope that there is a cut out there somewhere that they put on the Blu-ray with the original model, because I would love to see that. So I think that's where I'm gonna end my conversation with Sonic the Hedgehog movie review. I don't know if I'd call this a review now more than it's just a discussion about the film and my perspective and opinion. But what are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to see the chillness in the comments. I'm gonna read all your comments. So let me know if this is something you'd like to see and if you like this. And if not, guess what? You're gonna get another episode of The Completionist very, very soon. Guys, I've been Gerard. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week for the brand new video. Bye.